Hello, thank you for joining us. Uh, we're going to begin the webinar in about 1 minute. We're just going to give everyone a chance to hit that login button, update their client, do whatever it takes to, get in the room. Sometimes it's when you're trying to get into that meeting, it's that one time Zoom decides that now's the time that I should update your entire system and require you to restart. So we're just going to give 1 minute for everyone to get a chance to log in. And while we're waiting for everyone to log in, I just want to make sure everyone's aware we're here for you. If you have some questions about your specific Java situation, we'd love to talk to you. We don't charge anything for just calling us up and talking to us. So we would love to help you out. We've helped out a lot of other organizations with their job. And, of course, that's why we have a presentation today. So again, we're just going to start in 1 minute here. We just want to give everyone a chance to log in. All right, I think that's probably enough time. If people are a little late, they can always watch the recording. So, my name is Sean Donohue. I am the VP of Marketing here at Miro Consulting. And this is our presentation on Oracle Java. This was prepared by extremely experienced individual by the name of Tim Hegedus, who is our Director of Technical Services. And this is obviously updated for today. We do this presentation periodically, and we're always updating it with new info. And you're getting today's dates, new info, nothing old, not like we're recycling. All right, so let's just tell you who we are so you understand where you're getting this information from. So we're Miro Consulting. We are a leading provider of software asset management and subscription management services for Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon Web Services, and Salesforce. We specialize in license management, audit advisory, negotiation tactics, support management, and cloud services. Basically, our mission is to help our clients maximize their ROI on their software licenses and subscriptions, help them stay in compliance so they don't fail an audit, which can be very costly, and negotiate successful contracts and audit settlements. And what makes us different than anyone else you might be looking at is we have a no-risk performance guarantee. And that's very simple. It means that we're going to save you as much or more money than the cost of our fees. Nobody else makes that offer. Nobody else can make that offer. So there's basically no risk in working with us for any of these types of needs. Specifically today, of course, we're going to talk about your Java licensing. So why are we here today? Well, basically, Oracle announced in 2019 that Java would now be a paid service where it originally had been a free program. So all commercial entities will require a license to use Java in most circumstances. There are free versions, but they come with a lot of caveats that could make them be required to have a license. And you might also have these things in your third-party software as well. So it is really important to keep, in mind that Oracle has made Java a paid program. They are not going to just let everybody use it for free. If they haven't come to your organization for licensing yet, they will. We estimate around 20% of organizations out there have been approached by Java, and that's growing. I would say last time I did this webinar, it was probably closer to 15%, so it's really picking up. And if you're wondering what a Java audit looks like, it's called a sales inquiry. So if you have a Java salesperson or Oracle salesperson calling you up and asking about Java, that is the start of the audit. Don't kid yourself. It is not a friendly phone call that you'll just go away if you say no thank you. They know you're using it, and they will chase you down for a subscription. And if you're getting value, that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over which versions are free, which versions are paid, how we got here, what you should probably do about it. And like I said just now, we're estimating at this point, it's probably up to about 20%. We've assisted dozens and dozens of organizations come to conclude, work with Oracle and come to a compromise, come to a conclusion, come to a place where Oracle's happy, the client's happy, and you don't have to worry about a Java problem anymore. So like I said, if they haven't come knocking on your door yet, it is a matter of when, not if. So let's go over exactly what are your options, what versions of Java are out there, what do you got to do, to keep your organization on the right side of things. So I want to first start here with a polling question, which is we're going to say basically, oh, and excuse me, if you have any questions during the presentation here, please put them in the Q&A, and we will absolutely try to answer them as best we can at the end of the session. One moment, I'm trying to watch a poll here. All right, we're going to skip the poll here because for some reason I'm getting my system here is a little frozen, so we're just going to keep. All right, so the exact change. January 2023, Oracle announced the new per employee metric requiring all of your employees to be licensed for Java. And when I say all your employees, I mean all of them, even if they don't use it. Even if they don't use a computer, if you've got an employee whose job is to sweep the floor and they never even get near technology, they still need a license. Oracle will still count them as an employee who needs a Java license. And when I say employees, I mean everyone. Your full-time, your part-time, your temporary, your interns, basically anybody outsourced, your agents, your contractors, your consultants, your dog. Okay, maybe your dog doesn't need a license. Your dog might need a license. I mean, he's already got a name, right? He's halfway to named user already. But no, if your dog can log in, he needs a license. But I make that joke mostly because I want you to remember this part. I want you to remember that it is not just employees. So if you go to do your counts, you say, okay, how much is this going to cost us per employee? Well, make sure you're defining employee inclusively, because Oracle will define it in this inclusive manner. And let's say you've done that now, right? What are you paying for these metrics? And one of the things I want to point out to you too is if you go to any other Java related webinars out there to talk about this thing, I want you to pay attention and make sure that they are showing you data. If you are not seeing data and you are just seeing people talking about it, they don't know what they're doing. They haven't helped anyone and they're hoping you're the first. So when you go to any other webinar out there, look for the data like you're going to see here. So this is the cost. It's a per month price. You can see here the top level. If you have between 1 and 999 employees, you're going to pay $15 a month per employee per Java, or at least that is the cost if you do subscribe. And you can see that more licenses, of course, it goes down in cost as you go up. And if you have more than 50,000 employees at this point, you should just contact someone like Miro so that we can help you understand what you're really going to be asked to pay. And this is new. It used to be a different metric. It used to be something called per processor and NUP, which stands for named user plus. And that essentially was Oracle licensed Java based on the machines you were using it on and the people who are using it. That has changed. Now it is per employee. It is all employees. And there was an older metric as well. If you might have seen around, you might have in your records called the Perpetual Java SE license. That is another older metric. So those are the way it was measured before, and this is how it's measured now. All right, let's talk about Java pricing. What if you already purchased Java under your old subscription, under the old way? Do you need to purchase it the new way? And the answer is no, you do not. You did a smart move. If you purchased Java licensing for your organization under the old metric, as of now, Oracle said you can renew under that old metric. You do not need to purchase under the new per employee metric. Now, that doesn't mean you might not get a salesperson from Oracle who calls you up and either decides they don't care about that or they want to make their money anyway and tells you something different. So the official rule is, despite what anybody might tell you, the official rule is if you purchased under that old metric, you do not need to purchase under the new metric. If you started a conversation with Oracle, maybe you can still get it under the old metric. We know it's theoretically possible, but most likely you will have to get subscribe under the new metric if you want to keep using Java. So how does Oracle even know you're using Java? And they do. They will know you're using Java. And that's very simple because Java phones home. It's not doing this in any sort of nefarious way. It's not spying on you. It is simply Java calling back to the Oracle servers that say, hi, I'm installed here. Do you have any security updates for me? And that's how that's how Oracle keeps Java to be, secure in a world of a lot of cybersecurity threats. Because again, Java's everywhere. Now, when it does phone home, it actually so Oracle sees these IP addresses, and Oracle can track these IP addresses to your organization. So it knows that your organization is using Java. Uh, and this is on by default. We can help you tell you how to turn it off, but Java, when it installs, it of course installs in a secure way that it asks for updates, just like any other software you might have does. And one of the more important things to understand here is Java will auto update itself from a free version to a paid version unless you turn off the updates. So that is something that you really need to be aware of. And we can help you if you want to say, oh God, I don't want my Java installations to do that for whatever reason. We can help you understand how you can how and where to turn those types of features off. So contact us after, throw something in the Q&A, and we'd love to help you. So let's talk about which versions of Java you might have, and let me tell you, there are many, 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 many. So the only ones that are really relevant in 2023 are Java. The oldest ones that are relevant in 2023 is Java's 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 is the one by far you will see the most. 8 was the last one of the last free versions before Oracle made the switch. And if you see something called Java Web Start, Java 8 is the sunset release until Java 8 SE extended support, which will terminate 2030. And whether or not you have a free version of Java when it comes to 5, 6, 7, or 8, it depends on the update. And this is what I want to show you in the next slide. So depending on what update level you have of Java for 5, 6, 7, and 8, and this is only true for 5, 6, 7, and 8, it is free or it is paid depending on the update. So you can see, let's use 5 as an example here. 5 update version 22 is free, but if you update the version 23, it's a paid release. And you can see, if you take a look at 6, these numbers aren't always one after the other. So for example, with 6, the last free update is number 45. The first paid update is 51. And the simple answer is Oracle never released 46 through 50. They, for whatever reason, said these aren't important. We're just going to skip ahead, and they released 51. You can see the same thing here with 8, which is the most common of these older Javas, is that 202 is the last free release, and 211 is the first paid release. And if you're like me, let me stop you real quick. If you're like me and you are frantically screenshotting and writing things down and taking notes on all these things, you don't have to do that. What we're going to do is right after this presentation, I'm going to send you a guide. It's going to have all these numbers in it. So relax. You don't have to scribble down everything. I'm going to send it all to you after. And just so you're aware, in the next slide, we're going to talk about long-term support versus, mainstream support versus extended support. And Oracle basically releases 2 versions of Java, 2 types of versions. They release long-term and non-long-term. So the non-long-term versions are usually valid for anywhere like 6 months to a year. And then Oracle stops supporting them and starts supporting the next version. Oracle also has long-term versions of support, and those will stand. They will usually support that version for 5 years. So if you want the latest, greatest, cutting-edge features, and you don't mind paying for it, you might want the short-term versions. But most of our clients are interested in upgrading to a long-term version and then not having to worry about it every 6 months. So let's talk about which ones are free. So like I said, with 7 and 8 here at the top, it depends on the update. So these are the new versions of Java. And if you're just here and you're just here because you want to know what is the long-term free version that I can use, and the answer to that question is 21. You are looking for version 21. It was just released this past September. It is currently long-term support, and it is currently free. If you are on, obviously a lot of you probably don't have version 21 yet because it literally just came out like a week ago or 2. You probably were on 17. And 17, I want to point out to you here, had a change. So it used to be it was free long-term support, but I want you to see here, it's only now they made a change. So at this point, it is only free until September. Yes, it is only free until September 2024. So if you installed 17 thinking this was a long-term free version you were not going to have to worry about, well, the clock is ticking. In 1 year, that will become a paid version. So you need to upgrade to 21 at your organization if, in fact, you want to have a free version of Java. And the other change I want to point out here is with deceptive version 11 here. So you'll notice that most of the free versions are long-term support. I want to point out to you, if you've got 11, 11 isn't. 11 is not a free version, even though it is long-term support. And in fact, they just made an announcement change where it was going to be an extended support until 2026, but now they have changed that all the way out to 2032. So as you can imagine, Oracle would love it if you would use 11 and pay them for it, and they're trying to make it easier for you to leave it in there for a long time and not have to think about it. Again, I'm going to send you all this all after, so don't worry about scribbling. Okay. Okay. So that said, those are only free if you aren't using what Oracle defines as Java commercial features. If you are using Java commercial features with a otherwise free release, it is not a free release. It is a paid release. And once somebody is using a paid version of Java at your organization, well, guess what? Everybody needs a paid version now. The one I want to point out to you here, because I'm not an expert in actual programming of the Java language or all these specific Java tools, the one I wanted to point out to you here is the JRE usage tracker, such Java runtime environment. So let's say you use the JRE usage tracker at your organization to see who has Java and where. And then you say, okay, I got rid of all the Java, we replaced it with something else, or we changed to a free version. Well, if you're still using that usage tracker, you are just disqualified your organization from that free usage. So it's almost like if you use Java to find Java, you're out of compliance with Java. So, keep that one in mind. And as you look at your use for Java, make sure that you are not thinking you are going to have a free version if you end up using any of these commercial features as Oracle puts them. There's a couple others here. I just wanted to use the main ones on the slide to give you an idea of this is a caveat. You should be aware of it. So we talked about what's sustaining support for Java, what isn't. If that's important to you, I'll go over it real quick. Essentially, it's like this. If sustaining support means they're going to cover bug fixes, they're going to cover security, and now they're going to do that after the regular support period runs out. So if you were worried about they're just going to abandon me at the end of Premier and extended support, they won't. Oracle's going to take care of you. Oracle isn't going to leave a product out there completely unsupported, unpatched, like a security vulnerability. They'll take care of that. What they won't do is they're not going to cover upgrades. They're not going to be 24-hour support. They're not going to help you that much. They're just going to kind of fix it for, just to make it basic supported. So keep that in mind, that you would ideally want one that is at least in sustaining support, and you don't want to use an unsupported version of Java. So what happens if, okay, all right, I'm done. I don't want to use Java. I don't want anything to do with Java anymore. I give up on Java. I don't want to pay for it. Well, there are all alternatives. There are free alternatives and there are paid alternatives. Basically, as soon as Oracle announced that Java would become a paid product, many organizations went out and immediately put together their own versions of Java. Some are open source, like the Microsoft's Adopt OpenJDK. Some are not. Some are paid. Some are not. The two I want to point out to you here that stand out to us as the best solution when we talk to a lot of IT people, and they always say the same thing. I want to get rid of Java, or when IT people come to us and say, I want to know what my alternatives are, their biggest concern is critical patch updates. And what I mean by that is, how often do these Java programs get patched when a critical vulnerability is discovered? Now, most of them, it's like every 2 weeks, it's every month. Who knows some of them? Some of these open ones, I can't even tell you how often. I can just tell you that it doesn't happen in like an emergency patch. They just sort of patch everything that came up in the last 2 weeks or 2 months. Well, a lot of organizations are absolutely not okay with that. One of the things I say to people is, if you're in procurement or like legal or something like that, go talk to your IT department. Because if your plan was to switch your whole organization over, they may have a roadblock for you that says, I'm not happy with the security levels. Azul is different. And that's what I wanted to point out to here. That's different. That what makes Azul different than the rest of these is that Azul does do critical patch updates. They're the only ones who do it besides Oracle. So if that is your major concern, I want to point you in the direction. It used to be called Azul, Zulu, and Zing, and now they are called Core and Prime. So if you heard the older terms, I want to make sure you understand they're the same product. It's just a matter that they renamed them recently. So again, if you want to talk about whether your organization is Azul right for your organization, is it better if you actually stay with Java? Please talk to us. We can give you all the details on how it's priced, how the contracts work, what you can do about it, et cetera, et cetera. So that is something to consider. Again, make sure security or compliance issues don't derail your plan to move off of Java. Because we've seen clients at the very last minute, their IT department has just completely said, nope, nope. If we have regulations that say we can't use these open source products. We have company policies that don't let us use open source products. So make sure you're aware of that when you're doing your planning. My polls are still broken, so we're going to keep going. So let's talk about what agreements you have, and this is going to be real quick. We need to talk about essentially what agreement is your Java covered under, right? And I'm not going to go through all the details of these, but I want you to notice there are 3 different agreements. So Java 7 and 8 and everything that came before that were under the Oracle Binary Code License Agreement. Pre-19 releases of 8 and 7 are under a newer version, as well as 11 through 16 are under something called the Oracle Technology Network License Agreement. And the Oracle No-Fee Terms and Condition Agreement covers 17 and 19 and the other ones that have been released since. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, bore you to death with the differences of these, but if you are part of your organization's legal team and you make it your business to make sure you're looking at the right agreement, make sure you're looking at the right agreement. Because the last thing you want to do is show up in a negotiation and you are playing by a different rule book than you are supposed to. So let's talk about what's a Java audit look like. Well, it's called a sales inquiry because you're going to get a call from a salesperson, and he's going to say something along the lines of, "Hey, let's talk about getting you your Java licensing taken care of," and that is the beginning of the audit. They're not going to forget. You can't put them off. You can't just not answer the phone, not answer the email. They're not going to go away. They know you're there. They know you're using it, and they will keep knocking on your door and knocking on higher level doors at your organization until somebody talks to them. You might have heard of License Management Services from Oracle. They've got a new name. It's called Global License Advisory Services, or GLAF. They can be involved in the Java audit, or they cannot be. Because they might be involved in your Java audit, and you just may not see them. You might not have any visibility, but they're out there. They're still active. And like you can see here, I crossed it out. They used to just say, okay, how many processors, how many workstations? Well, that started getting complicated, and they got tired of people saying, I don't know, I got to go check, I got to estimate, I got to run a project. So they said, okay, forget it. How many employees do you have? And that's why they basically changed the metric, because it's very easy for Oracle to go out and find out how many employees you have. All kinds of data brokers are out there. They all have counts of your employees that are roughly correct. So if you're thinking, well, Oracle doesn't know how many employees I have, they do. So keep that in mind. And they're going to just say, hey, you got 10,000 employees, you need 10,000 Java licenses. I don't really care what they do. So, what are your risks here? Well, obviously, not having any licensing is a big risk. Using Java without licensing is definitely the risk that your organization is taking, whether they're really aware of it or not. But there are other risks. So, for example, can your users, so let's say you go through all the hard work of making sure your organization uses free versions of Java, can your users update themselves to a paid version? They absolutely can, unless you turned off that feature. And they're just trying to be a good little user, and if Java pops up and says upgrade to upgrade or update next security thing, something like that, and they'll just say, yeah, I want to keep my computer secure. Well, they just updated themselves and your entire organization to a paid version of Java. So don't go through all the work of making it perfect just so you can have one half asleep employee hit a button that undoes all your hard work. And the other big risk we like to tell people is these Java reps, they're negotiating all day, every day. They've done this dozens, if not hundreds of times. Don't go up against somebody who's done something 100 times and it's going to be your first time, because you are not going to end up with a good outcome, most likely. So we say talk to experts. It's not us. Find another expert if you don't want to talk to us for some reason, but make sure they've done this before, because you need somebody to represent you who is experienced and knows exactly what your organization can and cannot get. And like we say, there's 2 sides of it. We don't want organizations signing a bad deal when they could have got better. But at the same time, we also have organizations that put their foot down and say, I'm not going to pay and you're not going to make me. And those are also clients who don't do well, because clients end up paying one way or the other. So don't be that guy who thinks that I'm just gonna, I'm gonna stonewall Oracle, and that's my plan, because that's a bad plan. Now, here's a big gotcha. You're looking here, if you came to this webinar because Man, you really want to know the gotchas. Here's the gotcha you were in for. Here's the big payoff. So your plan, let's say your plan is, okay, I'm going to sign a 1-year deal. Once a while, I'm going to wait and I'm going to do nothing. And then if Oracle comes knocking on my door, I'm just going to sign a 1-year contract. I'm going to take that year. I'm going to pull off my job. I'm going to fix my Java problem during that year. And then that's it. I'm done. I ain't going to renew the contract. Well, guess what? That's not going to work, because if you sign a 1-year contract, the only way to get a 1-year contract is with full back usage fees to April 2019. So in other words, your one-term contract is actually a 5-year plus contract at this point, because it's 1 year going forward and 4.5 years of back pay. So if that doesn't scare you, it should, because that's real. And that is a lot of organizations we talk to that they're very they're not taking it seriously. And they think, I'm just going to sign a 1-year contract and that'll be it. No, you're not. You're going to end up signing more, because that 1-year contract is a 5.5-year contract that you've already used 4.5 years of. If you move up to a 3-year deal, well, they'll give you up to 50% off of those back usage fees, but you're not going to get any kinds of quantity discounts. So those quantity discounts I showed you earlier, they only kick in when you sign a 5-year deal. So you can see you're not going to have to pay back fees. You will get a quantity discount. So here's a big gotcha. You are staring down the barrel of a 5-year deal, or at least a 3-year deal. So that 1 year deal doesn't exist. So don't make that your plan. And my polls still aren't working, so we'll keep going. All right, here are my conclusions. Here are my takeaways for you. We're doing great on time, so I have some time for some questions. Here's my takeaways. Somewhere in your organization, you've got a release that is a paid release. It could be in anything. It could be in anywhere. If you've got a birthday card that sings you happy birthday, it's probably got Java in it. But the ones people don't think of are things like point of sale devices. So let's say that you're a major retailer and your employees use those little stock guns. I don't know what their name of them are. Point of sale devices, I think, something like that. So something like that. That thing probably has Java in it. If you are just looking at laptops and servers, you may forget all about that thing. Oracle's not going to forget about it. Oracle's not going to miss it. So I need you to think outside the box. If it uses electricity and it's not a light bulb, it probably has Java as the joke. The phones your company uses, Java. So anything and everything could have Java in it. Keep that in mind. There are different versions. Don't go through a huge project where you install a version that goes out of support 3 months after you installed it. So when you are making your choices, we suggest looking at the long-term versions, and don't accidentally put all your time and effort into a short-term version. You don't have to use Java. There are many, many, many alternatives. They may or may not be right for your organization, but they exist. It is time to start now. Don't wait until the Oracle sales rep starts knocking on your door, because then you're not going to have anywhere near enough time to purchase, install, do all that. If you're waiting for them to start knocking, you're waiting for it to be too late. Figure out which versions of Java are under which restrictions and which agreements. I said this earlier. Don't go into battle thinking the rule book is one version of Oracle's agreements, and in fact, it is a completely different version that may completely blow up your entire negotiation plan. So make sure you are looking at the right agreement. If you get a proposal from Oracle, you need to look at it carefully, specifically around things like the back fees I mentioned. But any other usage, you may want to look for things like, are there rules in this proposal that I'm not going to be able to use Java in the way I want, where I want, how I want? Because they could be in there. So keep that in mind. Also around the commercial features. And if you think you need some sort of special clauses in your agreement, talk to someone like us. We can tell you if Oracle's going to accept something or not. We can tell you how maybe you can modify your needs that will be in a way that Oracle will accept. Oracle's pretty good in terms of listening to their clients when their clients say, "Hey, I need an extra sentence here. I need an extra term there." Something like that. Oracle's pretty damn reasonable. But the key is you've got to approach them with the right language. You've got to structure it the right way. You got to ask the question in the right way. Because if you ask the question the right way, they'll just say sure. And if you ask the same kind of question the wrong way, they'll say, "Oh no, we don't do that. We would never do that." So it can really, details matter, and that's why I say come to an organization like us, because we know how to ask the right question. We know who to ask the question to. We know what other companies have have gotten in terms of agreements. So we can help you out there. And finally, understand what it means in terms of to upgrade or change from Java. What's it going to cost you in costs? What's it going to cost you in time? What's it going to cost you in compliance reasons? And compatibility. Obviously, it's not like you can't say every Java replacement is going to have 100% functionality in terms of will it work with absolutely everything? Almost certainly not. It'll probably work with most things, probably everything important. But if you've got some sort of custom applications that you're using, it's possible that, whatever version of Java, Java alternative you're going to, it may not work for you. So that's an important takeaway. And with that, what are you going to do? What should you do now? Well, you could do nothing, but we don't recommend that. Like I said, it's a matter of when, not if. Oracle comes knocking on your door. And what you don't want to be is you don't want to be that person at your organization who gets called into an executive office and the executive says, how come you didn't do anything about this? How come you didn't know this was coming? Don't be that guy. That guy doesn't tend to do well. So get out ahead of it. Even if you don't think your organization is ready to move, communicate it. Communicate it to the people who need to hear about this and say, hey guys, we have a Java liability and we need to take it seriously. So that way, if Oracle comes knocking, you can at least be the guy who said, hey, I said we had a problem. So be aware of what job you have, where you have it, what you're using it for. Find out right away, sooner than later. Find out how big of a problem you have. Know what your settings are. Like I said, even if you fix your Java completely and you've got it all set, you don't turn off those updates, your users are just going to, it's a matter of time. They're going to update themselves right out of compliance. And even if they don't, Java can update itself out of compliance. So we can help you know how to take care of that. Know your alternatives. How quickly can you migrate? How much time, how much heavy lifting is there? Is your IT department, do they have bandwidth for something like that? Find out now. And number one, most of all, get help. Don't try to do this one-time kind of a project alone. Don't try to wing it. Talk to some experts. Get the assurance of somebody who's done this many times, like me. So yes, talk to us and we would be happy to help you understand what your options are. So let's go to our question and answer. I think I saw a couple questions were asked. I'm going to ask my team answered some of them, but I'm going to just go over them here for you guys. What is your suggestion to prevent that we have to pay for a database-related Java on end-user PC? The data development is covered by ODN. However, I cannot really prove Java is only used with the database. Is this only option is to shift ODN environment to a dedicated test dev? And my answer by my expert was the agreement for Java states that properly licensed Oracle products do not need to have a Java license separately. What I mean by that, and this is probably one of the most common questions we get. Let's say I bought a product from Oracle, like database or something else, right? And that product came with Java as a requirement for its usage, okay? You do not need to purchase another license for Java separately. So again, if your Oracle product came with Java, it's already covered. That install is already covered. You don't need to do anything special. You don't need to think about it. But if you were using Java for anything else, you need to pay for it. So you can't just get a free Java Oracle license and use it for everything. No, it only covers usage with the product that it came with. Are the Java changes retrospective? They're retrospective. Like I said, they will go back and charge you from the day they announced the policy, which was in January 2019. They will calculate your back rent, so to speak, and they will charge you for it if you sign a 1-year contract, half of it if you sign a 3-year contract, none of it if you sign a 5-year contract. To the person who said thanks, let's see here. Somebody said, so Java users in many organizations might have clicked the I agree, and that's how Oracle got the right to charge for past usages. Yes, that is absolutely correct. They get to charge for past usage based on present behavior. Isn't that great? So yes, so again, be aware of that update, upgrade button, etc., etc. Okay, is this legal? Even if users inadvertently clicked I agree several years ago. Yeah, it is. That's why there's all the fine print. Because Oracle announced it in 2019, they basically said, okay, if you're using Java as of this date, you need to call us and get a license. And at the time, most organizations said, okay, I'm going to wait and see if this whole thing blows over. Is this just going to be Oracle? It's going to take people who come, ignore the rest? Nope, nope. It is legal. It is happening. So absolutely be aware of the situation. And we are out of time here. I had a couple others. Do we have any more? Yeah, I have one more open here I can get to. So if you move to a free version like 21, they can still come back and charge you for prior years. It's a maybe kind of a thing. They certainly will try. I have one of my experts typing in an answer now, so I will give him a minute to answer that. Essentially, it all depends. If you are in general, I'm waiting for my answer here. It works like this. If you give Oracle a hard time, if you make them chase you down, if you try to stonewall them, if you fight them and do so in a non-professional manner, they're not going to go easy on you. Whereas if you preactively contact a company like Miro, we definitely recommend you contact someone to represent you, so you understand your situation before you do anything else. But if you come in friendly terms and you are professional about it, and you answer the calls and the emails, and you negotiate professionally with them, and you're cordial and things like that, they're much more willing to work with you and your organization. They just want to get the deal done. They want to move on to the next one. So I highly recommend going about it in a professional manner. Don't stick your head in the sand, so to speak. I'm going to have to wait for an answer here. Oh, we got it. Run. I got my answer. Okay, the answer is, like I said, Oracle's going to try. They're going to, remember that Java phone's home. So they're going to show it to you. They say, hey, look, I have these versions of Java hanging from your IP addresses. So I know they're there, and I know they're installed and they're working, and you are getting value. So again, like I said, they will try. That's why we said, come to an organization like Miro, and we can say, okay, you're in a good situation, you're in a bad situation. We recommend you take this kind of a deal. We recommend you talk to these alternative providers who may be able to solve your needs for less money. You need someone to point you in the right direction. Don't do one of the, don't buy blind, just don't buy what they put in front of you, and don't do nothing. The best solution you're going to find is something in the middle. And with that, I think I have a couple more here. And, I had a lot. I usually get these. Some of you guys have asked questions, and the answer is kind of depends on what your situation is. We're going to get back to you after this webinar and call you and talk about your exact situation. And that way we can give you an answer that is applicable to you, because the last thing we want to do is give you answers that are not in context. So with that, if you stuck around this long, great. Thank you very, very much. Let's see here. So thank you very much. And if you want to contact us, you can Google us online, Miro Consulting. We're going to email you afterwards. You can just email us back, or you can call us right now, 732-738-8511, extension 1208. And that's it. Again, I look forward from an email from me where I'm going to have all the data that you saw here today, and you can go make your best decision with it. This concludes the webinar. Thank you very much for joining. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.